Good morning. Professor Swaminathan, Dr. Sonali Sarkar, Dr. Gautam, Dr. Premarajan, Dr. Sitanshu Par, Dr. Venkachalam, other faculty members of various institutions in the Dr. Sarabano, faculty members from various institutions in the city and from JIPMER, students and guests. I would go a step further from what Dr. Sarkar said. Actually, vaccines are the most effective public health intervention. I don't really know which second one she had in mind, but, sorry? Sanitation, yes. Okay, so that, yes, I grant that that would be possibly the first, but of the man-made things, vaccines are the impact they've had, the entire field of pharmaceuticals or even antibiotics have not had. So if we look at that, vaccines are extremely important. At one time we used to think these were important for preventing childhood diseases. That has been proven wrong. We are now starting with hepatitis B vaccine and now with human papilloma vaccine, trying to prevent diseases in adults using vaccines. And those are not the only examples. Chickenpox vaccine, which started off as a vaccine to prevent chickenpox, a much larger market for this is actually for today for preventing herpes zoster rather than for preventing chickenpox, because as chickenpox went off, the grandparents who shared the same space with their grandchildren who would get chickenpox and would get a subclinical exposure and boost up their immunity so that they were less likely to develop zoster as a side effect of vaccine introduction, so to say, started developing zoster, and now the vaccine is being used to prevent zoster. So I think I don't need to really convince this audience about the role of vaccines. They've been so successful, as they say, their success is actually becoming the cause of their failure. People have forgotten about tetanus, people have forgotten about whooping cough, people have forgotten about diphtheria. Those were the major killers in childhood. Those were the major reasons that childhood mortality was so high. We have forgotten so much that we actually think, do we really need these vaccines? Because people don't realize the whole, none of us has seen, I have not seen a case of smallpox. Okay, I have only seen pictures. And the same is true for many of you who have never seen diphtheria, many of you have never seen tetanus. Those of us who have seen a neonatal tetanus, shudder at the thought of seeing a baby in that state. It's extremely, extremely terrible. That's the only word I can use. So now, the fact is that we cannot be really that complacent. We really need to remember that we'll need to continue vaccines. And in our neighborhood, nothing tells us more than what happened recently in Bangladesh. When the Rohingya refugees came, and there were huge outbreaks of diphtheria. I have not spent previous years here, but I believe there were similar issues when we had the tsunami that affected this part of the country, and there were, when we had large groups together, when a large number of people came together. Those of you who are in public health know that if you have a large number of unvaccinated people within a certain amount of space, your R naught may be what it is, but your effective reproduction number would increase and you would have outbreaks, and that's the only time when we seem to remember these diseases. So, as all of you are aware, surveillance means systematic collection, analysis and of data so that one can plan programs, one can implement programs, and one can monitor programs for anything in the health space. And the same thing is true for vaccine preventable diseases. The particular challenges of surveillance in the vaccine preventable disease space today is that clinicians who are the ones who should be doing surveillance, who are the ones who should be able to pick up these cases, actually have very little experience. So if there were to be a case of diphtheria, how many of you have seen a diphtheria membrane? I can assure you that I have never seen one.
I have seen.
Sorry, so one case.
Seen, sir.
So there was a time when my teachers would tell me, no, remember we saw that case and we had this and this, but we haven't seen many of us. How many of chickenpox is still something that we see? Many other diseases we have not seen. Many of you, at least the younger ones, would not have seen a measles rash. Okay, so those are disappearing, and that's why more and more reliance now has to be placed on lab. The most important thing for surveillance is that the surveillance must be precise. It should measure what we are wanting to measure. It can no longer be a syndromic diagnosis, as those of us who are, polio we all been through. Any case of acute flaccid paralysis would be mistaken, and those cases would now become more apparent. And the same thing is true. All pharyngitis, everything that has a membrane would appear like diphtheria. So lab becomes more and more important. So for accuracy and precision, it would be important that we go on to lab. I've changed something what I was supposed to speak slightly differently because I realized in the morning that the emphasis is now going to be much more on lab, and that is the primary purpose of this meeting. But at the same time, the system has to be such that it is not very cost intensive, because if it is costly, it's not going to be done. Then it's going to be done in only a few sentinel sites rather than